We're just days with... All right. Just don't be naked, okay? Just don't be naked. You know, with days until the election, the FBI opened a new probe into Hillary's private server. Reportedly, emails were found on the computer of Clinton aide Uma Abedin's husband, Anthony Weiner. Okay? You following this, right? Okay. Who's under investigation for allegedly sexting a 15-year-old. Yeah, so the timing of this seems a little peculiar.
I hope they were wearing a hazmat suit when they touched that computer. I mean, that's all I have to say.
I think we can all agree on that. I think what's really difficult to comprehend is that the timing is oftentimes in the Justice Department, you're told that you can't release information about a pending investigation, and certainly not information that could affect an election. I mean, I was at the Justice Department for a couple of years, and it's very clear to me and to other former prosecutors that this is just so unprecedented that it's just simply not done. I mean, when you're there, you have to sign all the policies. If you know, and you get notice of what the policies are. And I can't imagine that the FBI director would do something like this. I spent the weekend speaking to so many former prosecutors, and in fact, there's this open letter from 100 former prosecutors saying that this is wrong. And when I looked at it, there were at least 4 to 5 prosecutors that signed it that I worked with personally and that trained me. And it shook me to my core because we take this responsibility so seriously as prosecutors. And to have my former colleagues call out the head of the FBI for doing something that I'm not going to say it's criminal, but it certainly feels like an abuse of office. I'm shocked.
Well, the thing is, Comey's been very front and center in this whole thing. I don't actually think he should have made the statement initially on the whole thing back, you know, a few months ago.
July.
Yeah, in July. When I don't think that should have come from him. I think they should have brought it to a grand jury. He's been very present, and he also made a promise to Congress and said, look, you know, I'm going to be as transparent with you through this process as I can. So if anything comes up here, he made that promise to Congress, not to the Justice Department, to Congress directly. I'm going to tell you. And I think he's in a position now where he's saying there is new information. He came out before, and the implication was, he's not saying she's guilty. What he's saying is, I told you before that this case was closed.
He's implying guilt.
Not to me, though. That's not how I read it.
I don't know how you could read it any other way, because it's like 12 minutes.
Okay, but I read it as there's more information here than we knew. In other words, there's a new device. There are more emails. We're going to investigate it. We're not implicating her. But to those of you that I told the case is closed, it's not closed. We're still looking. And I think he feels like not only did he have an obligation to Congress to do that, but to defend and protect the name of the FBI as an institution, he felt, look, the case isn't closed.
But people need to know that. For it, Jed. He had cover. There are Department of Justice guidelines that say he can't do what he did. So that obligation to the United States government, to his office, certainly supersedes anything else.
And also, I'm sorry.
It does.
But to me, it's not. He's not saying he's implying guilt.
So he's saying that there are new emails that are on Anthony Weiner's server that he shares with his wife.
Her laptop.
Now, so let me ask you this, because maybe I'm crazy, but when they first went after all these emails, wouldn't they have known there was this other server?
No, because she testified under oath.
Right.
But when they did, her devices over.
But she did. It wasn't her device.
But no,
why didn't they know? I'm sorry. If there are emails from Uma to
Anthony.
To Hillary.
Yeah.
I don't understand how, on one end, whichever end it was, how they didn't know there was another device involved. I don't, either they didn't do as thorough a job as we thought they did, or this is BS.
The problem here, though, is you have Hillary Clinton, thousands of emails were deleted. Then you have 13 devices of hers that are destroyed, and now these emails pop up, which Uma Abedin had an obligation.
Do you know that George W. Bush got rid of 2 million emails?
That's not right either, though.
22 million emails. Disappeared.
That's not right either, though.
Well, but, you know, if you're...
There was no
nobody went
there.
after him, and he started a war. Nobody asked him. He started a war, okay? Now, listen, again, I get that people have their feelings about her, whatever, but they have not found anything on her. And for him to come out and make the first comment that he made in July, saying, you know, well, we can't really take her to task for anything because there's nothing there, but we can't really do anything. Knowing that every president has the, or person who works in the government has this ability to get rid of some emails. Because they're not for you to look at, they're not for you to look at. But to suddenly come back out of the blue and say, well, we didn't know these emails were there, seems very bull-poopy.
But I have a question. I have a question. Why is it that, maybe I don't know the law that well, but there's no investigation until after the election of fraud at Trump University. That's after the election. We're going to hear about that. Wait a minute. Then there are these allegations from 11 women about sexual assault. We'll hear about that after the election. PolitiFact has called Trump the biggest liar of the year. He lies about everything. He has a shady past regarding his foundation.
He also has a rape case pending.
Well, okay, so these are the things that as an American citizen, why am I only listening about somebody's emails? Why am I not hearing from the authorities about these cases?
Well, and I think you see the discussion that we're all having. This is the type of discussion that you don't need to have. And that is why the FBI director should not be releasing this kind of information right before an election.
The question for this panel then is, how will this impact the election? Because a lot of people, they don't know about whether it's good or it's bad or anything. They see a headline. You know, a lot of people just respond to slogans and headlines, make America great again, and that's enough for them to vote. And this is the same situation. These are not people who look at
Sonny had said before how respected Comey is.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So he has that reputation. When he came out and said that she had acted carelessly, like no reasonable prosecutor would put forth charges, there was a lot of stuff that came out of the FBI then of people saying, we had enough, we should have acted. Remember all those leaks afterwards?
Yeah.
I feel like this is the pendulum swinging the other way. After that, I think his name and his reputation took a hit. I think he's trying to show that he's not leaning one way or the other.
That's not his job,
And that's not his job.
It isn't. It isn't.
And
But I
that's
think
what's
that
so
might
troubling.
be what's...
Yeah, but...
Can I just say,
and to your point, what struck me is, you know, Comey has been beyond reproach. This is a guy who we all respected and believed in.
Obama appointed him.
Yes,
Yeah,
and he's a Republican, and he was also a prosecutor, and so I always respected him. This doesn't make sense to me. It feels a little
There's a beat
Hoover-esque.
missing. There's a beat missing.
It feels a little Hoover-esque, and I'm shocked.
Can I just say in response to Joy, you talked about the investigations about Trump. I think all of those things should be investigated. I think the difference with Hillary Clinton is that she was Secretary of State. Donald Trump works for himself. Hillary Clinton worked for us. And the implication that there could be national security information at risk makes this story more important than, yeah, Donald Trump has character issues, and I want to know all about that. But she worked for us. Her responsibility was to the American people.
But hold on.
To the character issue, this is a man who bragged about going into a dressing room where teenage girls were undressing.
Should be investigated. I'm not saying
come on,
no.
talk about character issues.
Let's
for the
talk
highest
about,
office of the land.
the fact that she was Secretary of State. She was Secretary of State. President didn't seem to have an issue with her. Nobody else seemed to have an issue with her. And this is after they knew. Before she said she was running, they all knew that she had been using a different kind of machine. They then changed how things are looked at, and something suddenly became, what is the word, classified, you know?
Classified information,
and after the fact. And so it makes it very hard to take it seriously when you suddenly say, oh, and look, I didn't even notice was there. When you seem to have done this probe already, you've been up her cloud, you know, you've been up Hillary's cloud, and I don't get why you don't know that Uma is sharing a server with her husband that she has used to contact her boss.
Well, not sharing
The
a
fact that
server.
she testified that she...
But one legal question I have
Yeah.
for Sonny is, when that's going on, isn't it Uma Abedin's responsibility to say some of these emails may be on this computer that I
Well, you would
share?
see it. They would. That's what they would be
Absolutely.
investigating.
I mean, this was not her device. And so this was Anthony Weiner's device. So if she accessed emails on that device,
Should she have disclosed that?
I would think she may have. I would think
Yeah.
she would say, you know, this is not all inclusive.
not
And
forget-
maybe I used
Wait,
some other
hold
device.
on, hold on. 'cause
and
they're saying
Anthony,
we gotta go.
I know, but
They're saying
Huma
we
and
gotta-
Anthony are
we'll be
not
right
running
back.
for president. Okay, let's.
Later, there's plenty of trash talking on the Real Housewives of Orange County. But did one of them just take things to a whole new level?
Leave him alone. He's a family man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it attracts
We know
the wedding
you
ring
are out
attracts
there,
the
girls.
the real crazies.
But you know,
See, but I think you guys have to
That's
let.
true, we
You
have.
have to have as much faith in your man as he has in you.
Yeah. Well.
I mean, but you putting on a ring. If he's going to cheat on you, the ring is not going to
That's
stop
right.
him from cheating.
That's true.
It's just
That's
not
true.
going to stop him. So either you
That's true.
believe when he says, "Listen, I'm going with my friends." You know,
Yeah.
either you got the belief or you don't.
The
Because
ankle
the
bracelet
minute
would
you
help
start
her,
with
the
this,
ankle
Yeah, that would help.
you know, it's like,
I know.
why aren't you wearing it? It's like,
know.
why? You don't think I tell people I love my wife? Get back up off me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that would work
that's
for
true.
me if you never got a ring. If you were the type of person that said, I don't care about
Yeah,
this,
but not
I'm gonna
everybody
do it.
knows.
Yeah.
Not, I hated wearing a wedding ring, and I had a couple of very nice ones. Very nice.
Good for you.
But I didn't like them. I didn't
Yeah.
like them. It was too much. You know, I don't wear this ring all the time.
Yeah.
But I
They're
don't
annoying.
like it. They're annoying, and you know, you're worried about losing it. You know, if you're married to me, either you're married to me or you're not. You know, and no piece of jewelry is going to keep it from moving on.
Maybe
But-
a tattoo. I'll wear a ring. Maybe
You
a
know.
tattoo.
Well, that's not where you want the tattoo. If you're going to tattoo him, that's not the place. We'll be right back.
Still ahead, male birth control fail. You won't believe why a groundbreaking study for men's birth control was scrapped. Or maybe you will.
Welcome back. So, Real Housewife of Orange County, Kelly Dodd, said she learned a lesson about bad-mouthing her husband after he watched an episode when she compared him to Hitler. Yeah, he wasn't really all that happy about the comparison, but, I mean, we don't know what he calls her.
Ava
You know,
Braun?
maybe. But should you be trash talking? She's on a show where that's sort of the carte blanche, but is that something people should be doing to their friends? Bad-mouthing their partners and stuff?
I've made this mistake before where I've had a couple of really good friends and I get mad. I'm crazy Italian, you know, I have my moment and I call my friend, you know, and my mom, I made the mistake with my mom. And then I forgive my man and we talk it out and my mom hates him or my friends are like, get rid of him every day. So I think it's best to, you know, if you have a friend that can let it go when you let it go, I think it works. But if you know they're wired to hold on to information or, you know, maybe they're looking out for your best interest or whatever it may be, I've learned, you know what, keep it between you and your man.
Yeah.
Because when you forgive him, not everybody else is going to forgive
Well, you
him.
can talk to a girlfriend who also hates her husband at that moment. So if you both hate them,
And then you both got to let it go.
yeah, then you
That
have
works.
I did this with a friend. I typically think it needs to stay between us because I think it kind of breaches the strength of it when you take it outside of the relationship
Yes.
too often. But there has, I had an incident when I was pregnant where my husband had left with a friend kind of as a last hurrah before the baby, and he called it a dadchler party.
I've never heard of that.
What?
I hadn't either, Sonny, but a dad chiller party.
dadchiller.
So it was just like a last getaway, but I couldn't reach him. He was in Mexico, and I started to get myself really worked up, and I went to my best friend Erin, and I was like, he's being selfish, and I kind of flipped out. I needed somewhere to vent.
Yeah.
The good thing about her and she and I is when we have a complaint about our husbands, we often then take the side of the husband and say, well, maybe this. And we don't like heat each other up. We kind of cool it down because we both know that's our best friend. our partner.
Yeah.
So it works out okay for me, but I wouldn't do that with family. I think that's a risk.
I've made that mistake.
Yeah.
We've been married 18 years, but in the initial stages of our marriage, we'd have these ridiculous fights over who's using more toilet paper, and really?
Is this after you trashed the phones?
Yes. Yes. He said that I wrapped my hand around toilet paper, and that when he was single, that when he was single, he never, it actually just still ticks me off, but he says when he was single, he never used so much toilet paper.
Very wasteful.
It's
That I needed
true.
to pay more for the toilet
It's
paper.
true. But here's the thing. Women use more toilet paper because we put toilet paper everywhere.
We do.
We put toilet paper on the seat.
A lot of toilet
We
paper.
put the toilet paper on your hand, you make a mitt.
Yeah.
You gotta make the mitt. Yes. Yes. So that's understandable.
It's understandable.
So that was the stuff that you guys were fighting
big
about?
arguments, and I started telling my family, like, he wants me to pay more for the toilet paper. It's ridiculous. And my mother's like, he's cheap. He's cheap. It's ridiculous. And they held,
You're right. Your mother was right.
but they held on to it for a long
I
time.
don't like the wastefulness.
But they held on to it for a long time. So whenever I would say, well, we don't really want to do that, Manny thinks it's a little expensive. I told you he was cheap. Think about this. And so I just don't think you can share
This conversation with Manny, is this the first time your husband's finding out that your mom was having those moments with him?
Yes, sorry,
I was going to
sweetheart.
say, does she like him now, son?
She loves him.
You know what? We gotta go.
I can't wait till I'm going to do this in the voice of Whoopi.
All right.
I can't wait till my little one gets into movies like Finding Dory, and now you can watch the Disney Pixar blockbuster anytime you want as a digital download. And thanks to our friends at Amazon Video and our parent company, Disney, members of our audience are getting an Amazon Fire TV stick with Alexa voice remote and free promotional codes to watch it too. That's it.
Well, if that made you happy, this'll knock your socks off. A groundbreaking study on male birth control hit an unprecedented 96% success rate.
Wow.
But was scrapped after 20 of the men dropped out of the trial. The guys said they couldn't take the side effects like mood swings and acne. Is anybody surprised by this?
No, not so. I always said if you had to rely on men to do these things, it would be over. I remember I used to take birth control pills, and I used to get upset. I used to have mood swings, and I remember a guy that I was dating wound up having an issue where he had to take a hormone drug temporarily. And I came home one day and he was crying. He was watching a commercial, one of those like Hallmark commercials, and he was like, I don't know what it is. And I said to him, these are these pills. And all of a sudden he had a newfound awareness. He got off them right away. But I don't think men know what we're saying when we say we take this stuff and it makes us crazy.
Yeah.
I go crazy. Crazy.
Well, I don't know if this applies to all men, but my husband is a self-professed baby when it comes to getting sick. Like, I get a cold, and I know ultimately my immune system has to fight it off.
Right.
I just do my thing. I don't take over the counter for no reason, then I'm too lazy. The second he gets a cold, he's like, do we have coldies? Do we have Sudafed? Do we have that? And he's like chugging pills and taking things. I'm like, it's a cold, sweetie. Like, it'll go away eventually. Like, so I think sometimes physical discomfort is different for people.
But this is fascinating to me. I mean, it's got a 96% rate. You would think men would want to take that birth control, right? Because then they're more in charge of their
They don't want the
Their seed
inconvenience.
spreading.
What happened to remember?
You said it much better. Their seed spreading.
They don't even want to wear a condom, much less get a needle in their arms. They don't want to do anything.
But see, somehow that doesn't swing with the amount of men who take Viagra, because those are some side effects.
That works in their favor.
That's a side effect. If you find your erection still there 400 hours after you started with the Viagra, then you should go to the doctor. I think that's an issue.
Don't those commercials scare you, though? Because the caveats are longer than the commercial.
Well, yeah.
You could pretty much die, but
a tear is what freaked everybody out?
Yeah.
But a 2-year
Motivation.
erection is doesn't bother people.
They kind of hope for the side
Well,
effect.
you know, it's kind of crazy. Well, there we are. We'll be right back.
I think this person still works in Las Vegas or something.
Really?
Whoopi and I tried to do promos for a station that had as one of its anchors or reporters Ricky Cheese. This is what happened, I think back from 19...
I love trends like that.
I know.
You cannot keep a straight face.
We did what, you know, we used to do introductions to people. So you would have your so-and-so, and they'd come out and they'd bow to the audience and so-and-so. And we had Brad Garrett. And also on the show was Vern Troyer, who played Mini-Me. So he said, and here's Brad Garrett. And Brad Garrett came out carrying Vern Troyer and said, I'd like to thank the Academy.
That was it. We were gone
That was
for the
it.
rest
Yeah,
of the day.
it was crazy.
Okay, well, I don't want to miss the dance. Yeah.
right.
One of the Dancing with the Stars' most controversial contestants took a final bow last night, but he's taking one more spin right here, performing the tango to Howlin' For You. Please welcome Ryan Lochte and Cheryl Burke. Hi, girl. How are you?
Good. So that was kind of wild, huh?
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
This, or
All of it. Everything.
And speaking of wild, it's been a busy couple months for you. You got engaged.
Yes.
Congratulations. And you made it to week 8 on Dancing with the Stars, which is quite an
That's
accomplishment.
unbelievable, yeah.
And I know that doing this show was a bit of, as they talk about the show a lot, is a chance for redemption after some of the things that happened in Rio.
Yeah.
Did it help you out? Did you feel better now?
I definitely do. You know, I was a little skeptical going on Dancing with the Stars during
So was I. And then,
just being like showing my face out in public because I was in the darkest point of my life and I was like, I don't want to show my face. I just want to go in hiding and hide there forever. But with my family, my friends, and everyone really got me on the show, and I'm really glad that I did it because now I'm here and now I'm back to being myself again.
I mentioned to you last night when it was announced that you guys were leaving, the audience, all 700 plus, stood up and gave you a standing ovation. And I asked you on the show last night, did you imagine when everything was going down in Rio that you'd come to a place where people would applaud your spirit and applaud the spunk that you showed, you know, coming out of that dark place?
Yeah, I never thought that would happen, and it was just, and I almost like started crying because I was just such in a happy place with the show and everything, and leaving Cheryl and everyone that's really helped me through this whole journey and getting me out of that dark hole. I'm like, I don't want to leave this behind, so.
Well, Cheryl,
you don't want to rehearse anymore. You don't want to learn more dances.
No more
I've seen those videos. That's intense. But you've also been with the show for years, and you were there at the time when the two...
It was scary. I thought at first it was like a joke, and you know, it was too soon. But you know, I'm just happy that we're safe, and you know, I'll always have Ryan's back. So
It happened pretty quick. Security was wonderful there, and the one thing, as I glanced over and I saw these two guys, the one thing that occurred to me in the moment was this is probably the most cardio they've ever had. But you never know in the moment whether they're a physical threat or not, and our security kind of took care of that.
How did you feel, Ryan?
I was in shock. Like we said, I thought it was a joke. I was like, man, this show's not really nice.
Maybe this wasn't a good...
This is like not good. But then it was like for real, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this just happened.
Yeah.
Well, and you've been with the show forever.
Since the beginning.
That didn't come out right.
That's right. Let the show forever.
Well, with your wise years of experience,
That's right.
can you give us a little secret prediction about, have you gotten good at guessing who's going to win?
I over 500, I think. Yeah, fairly good. Not great.
So can you share it with just us?
Yes, I can, as soon as we're off the air.
Oh my gosh, you're going to tell me for real?
No, I'm not really.
Okay.
I lied.
I believed him.
Good God.
Yeah.
You're not going to tell?
Well, I don't know. I mean, look, I think the remaining, any one of them really could win this.
So anything can happen.
But anything is a live show.
Right.
It's like this. Heaven knows what's going to happen in the next few seconds on this show, especially with the two of us on case.
Yeah. See, I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to, like, follow all the directions.
I don't
'cause,
know
you know,
you
they're like,
anymore. What's it? Who
I
are
know.
you?
This is what they've done to me. I'm turned into someone I don't recognize. Our thanks to Tom Bergeron, Ron Lockett, and Cheryl Burke. Watch Dance with the Stars Mondays at 8 p.m. right here on ABC, and we'll be right back for the most part. Welcome back. So you're getting an award tomorrow, the Ola Award. Please explain this.
I'm getting the Ola Award. It's the Hispanic Organization of Latin Actors. It's the nation's longest-running active arts advocacy organization for Latino actors. And Rita Moreno has won the award, and Benicio del Toro won the award. And this year, I'm being honored along with Javier Munoz, who plays Alexander Hamilton in Hamilton. And so
Congratulations.
So I'm shocked, but, you know, humbled and honored to be in that group.
Right. That's super
All right.
cool.
Cool.
Congratulations.
Very nice. Congrats.
Thank you, Whoopi.
So, how do you feel about yesterday's show? About all of the costumes and stuff?
I love that.
Did you have a good time?
Yeah, we had the costumes there.
It was so much fun.
It brings back all those Saturday mornings you sat and watched cartoons
Oh, yeah.
with cereal that you, like, was packed full of sugar.
My mom called me and said, what is on your head? Like, what are you
Well, we all
doing?
wore something crazy thing on our head.
I loved
kept
it.
that on your head without
Was that
going
hard to balance?
Yeah. No, it was easy, but it just kept getting lower and lower. And once it got here, it became an issue.
It became an issue.
Yeah. But I thought Raven was amazing because
Oh,
she
he
whipped
was
that
so
shit
great.
off and went and tried to bite
Bob
those
apples.
apples. I was like, you just want to take that hat off.
And she had the voice
Yeah,
down.
she had the voice
She had
and
the
she
voice
was
down.
funny.
But that wasn't just the costume. I've heard her speak Cartman before.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
she
yeah.
does
She's a
that
lot of
voice.
fun.
Yeah.
And did you guys do anything for Halloween? Did you go out?
I went to Sonny's house. Beautiful house. I mean, it's some of the best food I've ever eaten in my life. I was eating the ribs like, it was like you know how like the little corn on the cobs go in the cartoons? That was me with the ribs. Amazing.
Well,
So
we
thank
only
you.
had 44 people RSVP and about 200 came.
Yeah, that's always the way.
Oh.
But you know what?
It was great.
We're glad y'all came. And we want you to have a great day. And we want you to take a little bit of time to enjoy the view.